Welcome everyone, my name is Kimberly, and today I have the great honor to be with Sean Zaborski. He is the CEO and founder of this amazing new app called DMP. DMP stands for Diabetes Management Platform. He is here with his colleague Taylor Beatty, and Taylor is the Chief Marketing Officer for DMP. Welcome. How are you both today?
We're great. Thank you for having us on.
Yeah, thank you so much.
Yes, my pleasure. So Sean, I'd like to start with you. Could you share with us some of your inspiration for creating this app and also share with us your relationship to type 1 and type 2?
Thank you. So I have a close family member who has type 1 diabetes who was diagnosed with that later in life. And it came as quite a shock to us and really impacted our life. So I was always sympathetic to the diabetic cause and the struggles that people have with the disease. And it really is a day-to-day fight, and I live that and I recognize that very closely. So when we were looking around for different ways to deal with the disease, I had Googled one time social media for diabetics and how helpful it could be. And there were a lot of articles on exactly that, like social media does provide comfort for diabetics and that sort of thing. But then when I looked to find the proper platform to actually utilize, I couldn't really find much. There was maybe a Facebook group or a Reddit group, but nothing with really a lot of tools to provide the comfort for diabetics or the tips and hacks to deal with the terrible disease. So we went to the drawing board and we drew something up, and that's how we started.
You know, that's amazing. It's incredible. I have a daughter that was diagnosed 6 years ago, and I really believe that building a community of people that really understand on a deep level how it is to live daily with type 1 and type 2, it makes the biggest difference, because having people that you can talk to and relate to in a really, real way, I think makes a big difference. It normalizes things. How about you, Taylor? How did you get involved with this app?
Well, personally, I have a family with diabetes on both sides, on my mother's side and my father's side, type 1 and type 2. And my mom also had gestational diabetes with all 3 of her pregnancies. Obviously, I was one of them, but I was around for when she had it with my brother. And so she's in pre-diagnosis now, like pre-diabetes. So it's definitely something that could be a real part of my future, which is what interested me in the project in the first place.
Incredible. So in terms of the app, what are some of the unique features that DMP offers to the community?
The first thing that I would say is definitely our live stream function. Something we've been utilizing pretty much almost since we've launched. We've had members of the community come on and do live streams for either like Dexcom or Omnipod reviews. We've also had a lot of professionals come on that range from like dietitians, mental health therapists, fitness coaches, and these are utilized for the community, the members of the app, to be able to tune in and learn something new and have this one-on-one almost, be able to ask questions to these professionals in this industry.
Yes.
The other thing I would say is just, other than live streams, we do have a section on the app that allows everybody to find a professional, whether it's like, again, a mental health therapist or a diabetes coach or a fitness instructor. So there's a section on the app that allows every user to find it very easily, which is just right here on the app.
With the live streams, you get real access to professionals that you don't have to wait in line. You get immediate access to them. You get personal connection with them. You can write your questions on the screen, and you can also see other people's questions. And it's often the questions that are asked that are rolling on the screen that are being answered are the same questions that everybody would have. So it's really for those 45 minutes of live stream, it's such a well-read point of view you get from a different perspective, a very well-read perspective that you get from these professionals.
I would also like to add that one of my, other than the information and the access to professionals, the main purpose of the app itself is the community. So the first thing that you'll notice when you download the app is that there's a section for type 1s and type 2s. And once you open those sections, there's forums
Yes.
for, to be able to find friends and make connections, or to kind of just chat about anything, whether it's blood sugar levels, or, how do I do this exercise, or how do you guys stay motivated? Like, those community building forums are there as well, which I think is, kind of like the meat of the app itself.
Is there a target audience, or should I say like a target age range that your app is geared towards? Or is there a particular audience that seems most interested in the app?
So I would say that currently, like, we've only really been around for a couple months now. We're definitely geared to more of the young adult. I would say like 17 to 35 seems to be the most popular age range that's on the app as of now. But we don't want to put ourselves in a box as of yet. Like, we're still growing and we have a lot to offer. So we're expecting that those numbers will go up and or down in terms of ages.
And I think
Yes.
we recognize that it's an app, so it's going to draw more of the type 1 crowd. But we're taking active
Yes.
steps to attract the type 2, which typically correlated with the older market. We want to make sure that there's specific sections for them. And even for people that are caring for, say, a senior that has diabetic, that if say a parent has diabetes, you can go on the app and you can have tips for seniors, and learn things from that, and even help those that are support givers get some comfort and some tips and just some help, and just discuss their various issues.
How would you say your app is a little different than something like a platform, JDRF? JDRF is a National Juveniles Diabetes Foundation. They do a lot of research. I don't know, are you familiar with them?
Yeah, for sure. I actually used to be a lawyer for that organ. I volunteered as pro bono lawyer for that organization for a number of years. This was going back maybe a decade or so, so I'm very familiar with them here in Canada.
So you probably got a lot of ideas based on what you saw there, and then you, from your own life and your own experience, you've sort of created something. It sounds like it's more intimate to me, a lot more intimate connections, a lot more like almost like a library of information that you can download anytime versus just doing a live stream and then never having access to it.
Yeah, you get access to real world people, real world anecdotes. There's no bureaucracy. It's an open source platform. Of course, we protect it from inappropriate content and that sort of thing. But for the most part, it's made by diabetics for diabetics to share real world experiences and to help each other to cope with the terrible disease.
Yeah. Yes. So I see you have an Instagram account. Is that the main way in which you're gathering your audience, through the Instagram account? Do you have any other social media platforms besides the Instagram account?
Well, I would say that Instagram is definitely our most popular as of right now, but we do have a Facebook page as well as a Twitter account.
Obviously the Instagram account is going to attract more of the type 1 crowd, but we are looking for avenues to go to and reach out to the type 2 crowd, the older demographic, so they can also benefit from our app.
What is your future vision of DMP? Do you have any other categories or areas of interest you want to begin to highlight?
I was going to say, so we're fairly new. Like, we launched July 13th. We probably came up with a concept in around May 2020. So we've only been active, launched it for about 2 months. So we're still in our first quarter. Our goal as of right now is to continue our user accumulation, which has been on a really steady trajectory path, which we're really happy about. But we've done a lot of focus groups and market research prior to launching and also throughout the process itself. So we do have a lot of really interesting features that we could roll out for V2 when that time comes. That's all feedback from users of the app.
The reception among the users, among the diabetic market is really incredible and eye-opening. They're very, it's a market that wants to help each other, wants to be involved, is actively looking for something to help them. And I definitely understand that from a personal perspective, but it's interesting because they're very active on focus groups and things like that, and we're listening to what they're saying, and we're paying attention, and we're constantly adding features or looking to add features that these focus groups are telling us that they want.
It's incredible. It's amazing. In a very short period of time, I saw that you have over 5,000 followers on your Instagram account. Like, that is impressive. Congratulations. It's amazing. So one of the things I saw on the app is people's personal stories. How is that going? Is there anything of interest there that you wanted to share? A lot of personal stories. Is there something about that you want to highlight?
Yeah, so the share your story section, they're actually blogs written by users of the app itself. So it ranges from type 1s and type 2s, different experiences. We wanted to highlight this section in the app in particular because even from doing our focus groups prior to launching, there were so many like heartwarming and inspiring stories that all these people had, and they could be like a learning lesson or a building block to somebody else who's just kind of starting out or has just been diagnosed. So we definitely wanted to highlight that and also just empower the community to share their truth and how far they've come, and not to kind of hold it in or be ashamed of having diabetes. It's nothing to be ashamed of, and you should be proud of how far you've come.
And maybe I'll add to that. And if you watch our live streams, you'll see that when people talk about their dealing with the disease, they tell not only their successes, but they also talk about their challenges and their failures. And everybody can share that experience because everybody's been there. And at the end of the day, it's inspirational because it's people who overcome their challenges. But for the most part, you see the real person dealing with it. And you feel like, yeah, like that's what I'm going through too. And that's what I felt, that's what I experienced, and I can overcome it myself as well. And I can feel better about things. So there's a lot of that from the personal stories. And that's what I mentioned earlier, it's made by diabetics for diabetics, and it's really sharing those experiences without that intervention of any professional or any translation of that feeling. It's like core stories where you can really sense that human element on how somebody's dealt with the disease.
Mm-hmm. My daughter's a teenager, and I think that something like this app DMP is really essential because they don't always open up to parents, they don't always open up to doctors, and being able to talk to someone that really gets it. Teenagers, there's frat parties, there's going away to college, there's all these different dynamics that when they can have someone that they really look up to, like almost like a mentor or a group that they find, it's really helpful, and it's great for parents to know that this exists.
And further to that point, like we would have, for example, in your daughter's case, perhaps a live stream by one of her peers who's in the same stage of life, who's struggling with the same diseases, and she would probably identify with that teenager or that person at the same stage in life more so than a practitioner or a nurse or a parent or what have you. It would be like a friend struggling with the same situations when you go to frat parties or when you go even out for dinner, or maybe you don't feel like going out, and how do you tell your friends? And that anecdote was on a recent live stream where we had a younger person talking about those challenges that she had when sometimes she just didn't feel like going out and she didn't feel like explaining why she didn't want to go out. And it really that anecdote really was identified by a lot of our people that were watching the live stream.
What do you have on the app for parents? Maybe being a parent, you want to do everything you can. You want to have as much information. Is there something on your app for parents?
So other than, we have resource sections in both type 1 and type 2, parts of the app in the different folders. So there's multiple articles linked for diet, exercise, those kinds of things. But we recently just put a section on the app for moms specifically. So it's right on the home page. Once you click it, there's moms with diabetes, moms to type 1 kids, and then also gestational diabetes. So they're actual separate forums just for moms to connect with other moms, or potentially find kids that are in the same age range that also have type 1, for these people to kind of connect and then kind of go through what they have to go through on a daily basis, and maybe find some tips or just have that support system, because not a lot of people can understand what they go through.
And I used to run support groups, and a lot of feedback I got from support groups were that they were always interested maybe in going, but they were having like a bad day or they were just too tired to go. So I think your app and your live streams are amazing because people can do it from their home. And then if they miss it, they can go back and look at the live stream, because I see you have a library. I think that's brilliant.
Thank you so much.
How do you find your resources for like professionals and doctors? Through market research, I'm assuming, or just knowing people in your community?
Yeah, so we got a lot of the idea, obviously, from doing our focus groups before we launched. So you'll see like a lot of the professionals that we have relationships with, even with doing a live stream, that are on the app are, like I said, like dietitians and mental health therapists and along those lines. And we thought it was important to go for these types of professionals first before we, ventured into nurses or practitioners, because those are the real gaps that we found from the community that, from being diagnosed, it's kind of like, hey, like here's the medication you need and you're on your way, versus like 5 years later when you realize, diet is important and my mental well-being is important and, exercise is important. And those things aren't necessarily talked about when you're in the doctor's office getting diagnosed with diabetes. So we thought that was important to kind of fill that gap for the community, to have access to these people, because they're equally as important in their journey than a nurse or an endocrinologist.
And I'll add to that.
Yes.
And I'll add to that because it is, as I said earlier, like the people in the diabetic space really want to help each other. So finding people willing to do a live stream has been very easy. People are very willing to give their time and share their experience and really help each other. So it's very nice to see that, right? It's not something that's often you see in the world, a lot of that, but it's really nice to see it. It's very energetic, enthusiastic people that want to help out.
It really enhances the community. It makes
It's
DMP
incredible.
a really good community.
Do you have any interest in having a platform for topics on the cure?
Yeah, so I'll speak on that. So I think 100% that's important. We're enthusiastic to feature that sort of thing. And we want to have a live stream with people that are on the cutting edge of research and are opening up doors and possibilities. So I think that's important just for the diabetic community to see that hope that they're inching towards a cure and building towards it. So it's maybe you don't feel as trapped. You feel that potentially there is an out, or especially if you have a young child with diabetes, which is very hard for a parent, I'm sure, that maybe in that child's lifetime, there will be a light at the end of the tunnel. So yeah, we're very enthusiastic to feature that part. A, because we think it's important that people know it, but B, it gives also the hope.
How can someone get your app?
Yeah, the app is available on the Google Play Store as well as iOS, so both Apple and Android, and it's 100% free to download.
And if somebody has a topic that they want to share or they have a particular question, how would they reach out to DMP? Is it through just, is there a place on the app? Because somebody could be saying, wow, I have this great idea, or wow, I want to be a champion for a young person. How would they go about that?
DMP does have its own user account. You can also direct message DMP directly. We're actually the first people that send you a friend request and send you a message as soon as you download the app. So you always have that message open. So always feel free to reach out.
Yeah, we would encourage that because we really want to deliver what the market is looking for. So, we're always looking for good ideas or good topics and things like that. And we want to deliver what the market's looking for.
Yes. Incredible.
Do you have any upcoming announcements or any big topics on the horizon that you want to share?
Yeah, for sure. So we've been doing a weekly theme for our live streams going back to the beginning of August. So currently this week and for the next couple weeks, we're featuring moms just to kind of celebrate that new section on the app. So like I said, moms with diabetes themselves, with type 1 children, also with gestational diabetes. But we also have upcoming, motivational speakers for type 1s and type 2s. And the one that we're really excited for is we have Gary, an author, coming on who actually wrote Think Like a Pancreas. And he will be talking about some
I
really...
love that book.
Yeah, he'll be
Oh,
coming
great.
on
Yeah.
in a couple weeks, and he'll
Yeah,
be
so
talking
do we.
I love
about...
that was the book that my husband and I really got a lot of information from. It was brilliant
Oh,
because
yeah.
he was a type 1 and he really knew how to talk to the community.
Yeah.
Fantastic.
So
Yeah.
yeah, he's coming on, and he'll be kind of talking about some new technology in the industry. So we're really, really excited to have him come on and be featured. So that's our, big news, I suppose.
Yeah, we're excited to have him. It's we love the book too.
Is this a full-time job for both of you, or does it sounds like it's a big undertaking? Is this a full-time job for both of you?
Yeah, it's
Yes.
full-time job and more.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Yeah.
Wow, I give you so much credit because I'm doing this, on my end from a labor of love, and I have a whole other practice, and I'm so impressed with your ambition and all that you've accomplished, and you've got genuine care and heart in what you're doing, and it really comes off. It's amazing.
Oh,
Thank
thanks.
you.
Thank you.
One question: it is so stressful having type 1 and type 2. From your community, is there anything that people seem to like to do, or some kind of stress management that comes up a lot, or some feedback about how to manage stress?
So we actually had a live stream kind of just on this topic itself from a mental health therapist, and she kind of went into self-care tips, breathing exercises, kind of just tips on that, and that's also available in the live stream library as well, to kind of go over. But I think what we found is that it kind of differs from everybody if what self-care is.
Yes.
And for some people it might be taking a bubble bath, and for some people it might just literally be doing nothing, laying in your bed and watching Netflix. So it's just more of a balance, and how to kind of find that balance in yourself and in your everyday activities.
Or there's others that would give themselves permission to feel down,
Yeah.
as long as they don't stay down, kind of thing. But they can be temporary down, and then that's fine, as long as they maintain a positive outlook at the end of the day, right?
Wonderful. This has been really amazing. I think anyone who listens to this will feel really at home and very welcome to be part of your community. Really, really amazing. Do you have any closing thoughts? Anything that you want the people out there to know about DMP or to know about your company that we haven't discussed?
So our company is very altruistic in nature. We really have a big heart, and we're trying to do good and help people. So you made a great point earlier. How can somebody reach out to us? I would really encourage that from any aspect. If somebody has an idea or just looking for something, and maybe we could help them. So I really encourage that. But it's a free app. It's altruistic in nature, and we really just want to do good and make a positive impact in the diabetic world. So yeah, please.
Yeah.
So we would encourage our community to share this information with everybody and to put it up on their social media so they know that it's available.
Yeah, that would be
That would be
amazing.
amazing.
Yeah.
Get to download the app.
Yeah, I think the more information and the more brotherhood or sisterhood to fight the disease would be great. So we really appreciate, and we're honored to be with you, and thank you for all the good that you're doing as well.
Yeah, it's a pleasure.
Oh, my pleasure. Thank you. So wonderful. So we'll stay in touch, and I wish you all the best. And we'll see. Maybe it'll be something we can collaborate with on down the line, maybe even fundraising of some sort. So thank you so much.